Too many people are wasting their own life by focusing on helping other people or controlling other people or thinking what other people think about them. And this is such a huge problem, and we see this especially in families with control and all these kind of weird things and conditionings that we are supposed to take care of other people. That's the problem. And in today's video, I'm gonna share some practical tips and concepts on how you can actually take control of your own life and get a huge amount of energy, clarity, and just a sense of freedom when you realize that you are not supposed to focus on them. You are only supposed to focus on you and how you behave and what you do and what kind of being you are. So the biggest trap here is that most of us are so conditioned since we were small children and since we were in school and by the system that we are somehow supposed to take care of other people and we are supposed to think about other people, and I don't mean this in a obnoxious and arrogant way. I mean in this subtle way that I can't chase my dreams because what would my mom think, or I can't do this because what would my sibling think, and these weird subtle things and patterns that most of us live by. And this is the trap, because as long as we are living from outside conditioning, we can never reach our goals. And the most common trap, the most common thing is that we say to ourselves, we tell ourselves that, yes, but when I get this one thing sorted out, then I'm gonna live my life. When I achieve this status or this job or this amount of money, then I'm gonna start focusing on myself. The sad truth is that then will probably never come. And this is why when you start to choose yourself and you start to focus on yourself, your life will change, because you take the attention away from other people and you put the attention on yourself and you start to go inwards. You start to ask yourself questions. Okay, what would I like to do? Where would I like to see my life be in 10 years? Okay, what is my purpose in life? What if things were different? What would I do then? And when you start to follow that path, you quickly realize that a lot of people who you've helped and who you've supported and who you've kind of been a servant to, they get pissed off and they kind of get upset and they're like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Why aren't you behaving the same way you used to be? And that is usually when people turn around and they're like, yeah, okay, I start to feel guilty. Oh, I can't do this because then my mom gets upset, or my dad, or my grandparents, or the community, or whatever it is. And you abandon yourself. And when you abandon yourself, you basically give away all your magic, because the most powerful thing you can be is to be authentic, but you can't be authentic and be focusing on the outward things. And I want to be real clear here. It's not about not helping people and not taking care of your loved ones. It's about first taking care of yourself and ensuring that you are a vibrant being, that you have energy, that you have satisfaction, that you have a sense of purpose. And if these things aren't clear, if these things aren't fulfilled, you will never get that fulfillment by trying to please your boss or your parents or your church or whatever the conditioning and pattern and belief system you live by. And this is not only theory, this is what I've experienced in my life. I've been so conditioned to think and kind of been trained to be codependent, to only look after the people and to be kind of this, like, put yourself second and put the other people first, and think about how they are going to react and how they are going to feel about the decisions that I want to make, and then I make the decisions against myself. And when you wake up to this and when you realize that, oh, I've actually been abandoning myself because of a tendency to be codependent, and this has to do with fears and the kind of the fear of letting other people down, and then maybe the fear of feeling ashamed or guilt for doing that, because you think that you are responsible for other people's emotions and how they behave or how they react. So you're just used to shutting up and being like, yeah, maybe I'll have to settle. I have to do a compromise. And I truly believe this is one of the biggest problems in the world, because if more people would follow their own heart and their own path and have the courage to actually disappoint other people and show them that, hey, I'm this person, I'm this guy who's actually gonna follow my dreams. I'm gonna do what is best for me, and I'm gonna show as an example of how it's gonna be done. You will motivate other people to do the same. And then when you have your own cup filled, then you can choose to help other people. Then you can choose to support other people when you have the energy. But if the default is to first help other people, you will never reach your dreams. And this, for me, is an eye-opening. When I've seen videos of people who are nurses and they are on this, I don't remember the exact term, but people who are dying, and they share their last ideas and thoughts, and they're like, I wish I would have been myself more. I wish I would have followed my dreams more. I wish I wouldn't have worked so much. I wish I would have spent time with loved ones. And I don't want to be that person who is gonna evaluate my life and regret the decisions I made when I'm still young. And even if you're 60, even if you're 70, you still have time to go and chase those dreams. It doesn't matter what situation you are in. The younger the better, because when you are young, let's say in your 20s, then you can still choose and try out all kinds of things you think that you want. And then a lot of the times you will realize, oh, maybe that wasn't what I wanted. And then you figure out something else, and then you find another purpose, and then you find another purpose, and life is full of stages. But you will never get to this point if you keep on putting your attention to other people. You keep on thinking about how they are gonna feel if you make these decisions for yourself. And a lot of times we are so conditioned, especially by our parents who are living in a totally different world than we are, that we should take care of them. We should honor their beliefs and their values. And to some extent, that's probably true. But if you don't assess your values and your beliefs and what kind of life you want to live and how you see the world, and you stand firmly in that, you won't reach your full potential. And what could be a bigger purpose in life than reaching your full potential? To actually do the things that you dreamt of as a kid, to actually go and fulfill those things that come and rise up from the inside. I know for a fact that I've struggled, I've had like mental health issues because I've thought that I need to be a certain way. And when I slowly let go of that, and I let go of the guilt, and I let go of the shame, and I face it, I sit with it, I feel it, I realize that I can do whatever I want, and it's fine. I have my morale. I know that I'm doing good things. I know that I'm not hurting anyone on purpose. It's okay. And if somebody got hurt, if somebody had got their feelings hurt and they got upset or something, it's actually not my problem. And it's not your problem either. It's not your problem to keep people in a positive state if you are then taking on that negative state yourself and the negative emotions. But somehow this fucked up society has got us thinking that we need to take on other people's guilt and blame and all that shit. And when you wake up, you only need to become aware of the patterns and your upbringing and all these. You can free yourself. And that's when it at first will start to feel really weird because you're not used to keeping your energy. You're not used to thinking about, oh, what do I want to do? Do I want to be in this room? Do I like these people? Instead of thinking, oh, do these people like me? Oh, do they kick me out? And when you change that and when you take your energy back, you stop being the consumer. You stop being the follower and you start creating your own path. And that's the only way to actually fulfill your life and your needs and your soul's mission. Stop giving a fuck about them. Start asking yourself, what do I want? How do I want to live? What kind of experiences do I want to have in this lifetime? So it's about radical self-ownership. And it's about acceptance. When you accept yourself, like, yes, I have negative traits. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to keep up this illusion anymore. And you accept that other people's opinions of you, it's their thing. You don't even need to listen to them. And if they tell you that, you can be like, thank you. That's a good perspective. And you don't need to buy into that. And that's a really cool thing that me and my partner has started to use. It's like, oh, I don't buy that. It's like people try to sell their negative emotions or their guilt or their shame or whatever conditioning it is, control. You're like, no, I don't buy into that anymore. I'm gonna stand on my 2 feet and I'm gonna walk my path. And I know it's not easy because the whole society is kind of in on this game of blaming and complaining and kind of pointing fingers outwards. And I'm happy to see that a lot of people are also starting to wake up and be like, oh, I'm actually gonna choose myself. It's like there's never been so much tension and kind of beef going on between like boomers and millennials. Like we are going through this major shift when we millennials realize that the thing that our parents tried to do didn't work for us anymore. It may have worked for them, but it didn't really work for us. And now we need to stand up and kind of solve and make a solution for ourselves. And that means disappointing them a lot of the times, unless you have really understanding and accepting parents. And another thing is that in the beginning, this is a really tough thing. It's you have to battle with your own internal demons and you have to kind of battle with the guilt that, oh, am I actually allowed to choose myself? because you've been guilt-tripped your whole life. You've been conditioned to not choose yourself, even by society, like the whole bigger system. But when you start to choose yourself, people around you slowly actually start to respect you. And they start to be like, wow, that was actually pretty brave. That was pretty cool that you went for your dreams. You did that. And it might take a long time before people speak up on that. It might be that they never admit that to themselves, because that would mean that the haters and these people who want to keep you in a certain place, if they would admit that, it means that they have to realize that they could do that too, that they could also make a change. But for a lot of people, that's too big of an obstacle. They're like, no, I can't, because it's like all my colleagues, all my work, I have to let go of everything. And people are not willing to let go of things. And that's one of the hardest parts about choosing yourself, is that you have to accept that your parents may not want to be with you. They may not want to have contact with you, or your old friends, or you may have to change your job, or just move to another community. But I've gone through this process far enough that I know that if people don't choose me the way I am, and I know that my values are good, I stand for positive human and want to make this world a better place. But if people still don't choose me, it's their loss. It's their problem. And it's not something that I need to worry about, because worry is also what people try to sell us. No, you need to worry because I worry, you need to worry. And when you don't worry, I need to worry more because, wow, somebody's gotta worry. Guess what? If everyone stopped worrying, worry goes away. So now you understand the bigger concept of this, and I want to give you some practical tips. The first one is journal. Journal about this. It's like having a conversation with yourself. Second one is meditate. Try to get out of your mind. Try to get into stillness, because once you get back from that, you can start thinking more clearly. The third step, start speaking to the mirror and actually look into your own eyes and be like, wow, okay, who am I pleasing? What am I trying to achieve here? Am I trying to get validated? Am I trying to get acceptance from the external? Why am I doing this? Who made me believe that I'm not worth it? All these questions, and you can come up with your own questions and start asking questions and wait for the answers to rise from within. And most people never stop to ask these questions. What do I want to achieve in my life? What are my actual goals for myself? How can I do that? What do I want to be remembered for? And when you sit with these, you journal, you meditate, you talk to yourself in the mirror, you realize slowly that there was a time when you were a kid, most probably, that you had big dreams, you had big aspirations. And then life happened, and then there was all kinds of things that you couldn't have expected and you couldn't control. When you can reconnect with that childlike energy and that childlike optimism, enthusiasm, motivation, that's when you start to walk your own path. And you remember that it was never about them. They just wanted to use you because they got energy or something out of it. They got a sense of safety, or they got an outlet to complain or project negativity to. When you start unconditional love towards yourself, is the moment you're also capable of giving that unconditional love to other people. And just to clarify, I'm talking about adults here. This is not something that is going to work with children, because of course you are responsible for your children, and children in general, adults are responsible for them financially, emotionally, intellectually. So other adults. And the crazy thing is that when you start creating boundaries, because that's what it is, you create boundaries to not give your energy away to them, most adults start to behave like 8-year-olds, and they get tantrums and they get like upset, and they're like, no, I can't stand this. How can you do this to me? How can you be like that? Don't you ever think about that? And they start to guilt trip you, and they start to kind of try to get you in shame and in fear and all that bullshit. When you can handle that, that's when you know that you are finally walking your own path, and that you choose how you respond. And this is why also you need to become really self-aware to be able to walk your own path, because if you are emotionally reactive to these situations, you won't be able to keep your energy, because people try to trigger you so that you will lash out and give them energy. And it's this weirdest thing, when people try to get you mad, they actually get energy from you when you lash out. And that's where internal control comes in. You start controlling yourself, and you start to choose to respond calmly. You stay calm. You're like, that's your issue. This is not my problem. It's your life. And the good thing about creating boundaries, and this is actually how you help people for real, when you say no to them and that you don't give your energy and you don't help them, they have to finally figure out things on their own. They have to figure out how to solve their own problems. And yes, some people might just spiral even worse. That's still their problem. And they might start to guilt trip you even more and get you involved in all kinds of bullshit. But if you can stand your ground and you know that you are doing the right thing because you are choosing your own life, eventually they will have to find another person, another source of energy, or another source to complain to or something, or they have to get their shit together. And that's when they will one day come back and thank you. Because creating boundaries and choosing yourself gives other people the example on how to actually choose yourself. And it's so rare in this world that it feels like you are doing everything wrong. And how can I do this? Because no one else is doing this. How could I do this? That's the exact point. You have to be brave enough. You have to have the courage. And if you're familiar with David Hawking's scale of emotions, the scale of frequency, you know that courage is where you get into the positive, and you start to get into a positive vibration, and you start to reconnect with joy, with ecstasy, with love. Choosing yourself is the first step, but you have to heal all those parts that are keeping you in shame, in guilt, in fear, in apathy, in grief, all these negative states. And when you can do that, you naturally become a positive person. You become joyous. You remember that life is a gift, that we are supposed to enjoy this time here and not worry. Worrying is not the thing that should be in our life. We should trust life. We should live in the moment. We should enjoy. We should pursue our dreams, our goals, what we are here to do. But if we keep on focusing on the external, we can't hear the voice from inside. I know I've been through this whole shit and I'm finally emerging on the positive side. And it's so amazing when these weird guilt thoughts and these fear thoughts and shame and all these start to arise. And you remind yourself, oh, I don't buy into that. And they just fade away. And you have a sense of calm and peace internally. And that will eventually lead you to your dreams, everything you wanted in life, because you can control your energy and you're able to control your attention. And where attention goes, grows. When you put your attention on yourself, and no, it's not selfish, that's a bullshit lie people tried to sell you to keep you in control. When you put the attention on yourself, you grow. Yes, it's not easy. It's really difficult. And I highly suggest you have some support people who are on a similar journey, because if you still hang out with people who are trying to keep you small, keep you in guilt, keep you in control, keep you as a source, it's going to be really difficult to get out of that. And sometimes you just need to be alone and kind of accept that I'm not choosing them. I'm choosing myself. And eventually you will find people who will just choose you because they like you, not because they need you as some kind of source. So that's gonna be it for today's video. If you're interested in coaching, you can apply it below. There's all the information. Other than that, I truly hope you got even a tiny bit of inspiration to go and explore yourself. Try the mirror work. That's amazing when you dare to look yourself in the eyes and start asking questions. It can be scary, but it's super rewarding. And keep going. For everyone who is on a journey to actually reach their full potential and choosing themselves, I'm on your side. My name is Mitz. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in a future one. Peace out. Have a nice day.